SwoleBenji here. Today's video has no context on game or teaching you anything. I'm just playing Albion and you're going to listen to my story. And today in Albion, I'm going to tell you about a country or a place or a nation or a city, a town that does exist, and everything that I say is completely true in this area, this place in the world that exists. You can guess where it is in the comments. Alright, it's not a fun place, and I'm going to describe it to you, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Alright, so you're driving around, and so many people have bought fake police sirens that no one ever pulls over anymore, unless it's a military vehicle pulling them over. Car accidents in this area are up 400% compared to the rest of the world because everyone drives on the sidewalk and the shoulder lanes and the oncoming traffic lanes. You know, it's just a passing lane to them. Oh, did you run over a kid? Well, you're responsible if you're caught, otherwise you're scot-free. Funerals are actually cheaper than the medical bills in this area, and you just back your car over them, you know, just to be sure, just in case. Did you get run over, like at a crosswalk? Well, did you see someone get run over at a crosswalk? Well, if you call an ambulance for them, you have to pay for the ride because you're the caller. If you move the wounded person out of the street, you're legally taking medical responsibility for them, so that means the bill's on you, buddy. So if you're hit, people will just leave you in the street to die, and when the light turns green after you've been run over, well, you're getting ran over again. And on social media for this area of the world, everyone says that that's completely normal. Let's say you survive and you go to the hospital. Well, you gotta pay cash up front. There's no credit, there's no checks, and no insurance. Oh, you don't have it? Well, get out of the waiting room, because this hospital, it's not a hotel. Let's say you somehow paid for it, though. Okay, so now you're just going to apply this cheap, ground-up lizard powder to your wound. You know, it's probably not even actually medicine. It's just someone sold it to the hospital telling them it's medicine, and they didn't have a choice. Now, ignore the smell while you're in the hospital, you know, because it's mostly just dried blood. Cleaning, it's too expensive for the hospitals, and they don't really clean here in this part of the world. Oh, you got cancer from all the smog in the air because of all the pollution? Well, that's normal, you know. On a Monday afternoon, you know, the brightest part of the day, you can stare directly at the sun. It's just a little dim light in the sky. It's not even really that bright. Let's say you leave the hospital, and you got cancer and infection, but you're still not safe because the escalator you took, it collapsed because the safety inspector, well, he was bribed. And then the wall of the hospital collapses because the contractor that had it built, well, they used less concrete so they could save money. So you've died, like 3 times now? You're hungry, though, so you're going to go to a buffet. Well, sorry, but they're kicking you out after 1 plate of food because that's all you can eat. But you're still hungry, so you go somewhere else to eat. Well, you find out there's no little ketchup packets, not for free at least. There's no free refills on your drinks. There's no samples. No plastic forks either. Because people steal all of it. Any restaurant that leaves any of this stuff out for anyone to take, well, guess what? The first person to see it is going to take the whole bouquet of plastic forks. I'm not even kidding. Alright. You want to know who the rich people are in this part of the world? It's the people that sell bottled water, because the tap water is literally poison, so everyone is forced to buy the bottled water, alright? And let's say you start trolling people on the internet, or you make a post on the internet that the government doesn't like. Well, cops come to your dwelling, and I'll call it a dwelling, and they arrest you for your post on the internet, okay? Then they chain you up next to a steam pipe, which those things get really hot, by the way. They tase and beat you, and if you do it again, then they'll arrest your family members, right? So, yeah. So is there anyone so far that can tell me in the comments how much worse your country is than this one? And you may think that this sounds bad, but I haven't even gotten started yet, guys. It's way worse than what you think, okay? So let's say you're a parent and you have a child. You have to bribe your kindergarten teacher, or the child is going to get put in the back of the classroom. Hopefully, most kids, you might not be able to see. The classrooms are packed with children, like I'm talking 150 kids to one teacher, because there's way too many people, and there's not really that much money for teachers anyway, so there's really not that many teachers, okay? And the teachers are allowed to beat your children, and I don't mean like slap them on the head or give them a spanking, no. There was a girl at school, she was beaten so bad by the teacher that her brain bled massively, and she's permanently blind now. And parents, they beat their children too. It's actually really normal and acceptable in this society. Parents actually brag to other parents about breaking an umbrella on the backs of their child, like broken bones and starving them. It's all acceptable here. It's not looked down upon or weird. You're a high school student, are you? Well, school starts at 6 a.m., and you don't get to leave until 10 p.m. That is right. That is a 16-hour school shift, and all the windows at school have bars on them. You're not allowed to visit. No one can visit the schools. They're basically prisons. Most kids will drop out at this point. There's just too many kids. You remember, I just said there's like 150 kids per classroom. Like, and most kids accept, most people in this nation, they accept that they will never, ever escape this hell. Alright, so per year, the average person, they get paid 3,000 currency monies. I'm not going to tell you what the currency is called. So, 7 of these currencies are about equal to $1 US, and you only make about 3,000 a year. So, do the math on that. That's like 400 something US dollars a year. It's not that much. The only social safety net in the whole country are suicide nets that are placed outside of windows. It's to catch all the jumpers in the factories so that they can get back to work. But hey, after all that, at least you're not a subsistence farmer, living without plumbing or electricity in the boonies, with your little donkey drawn cart, hauling produce around. Those kind of people, they're not even on the census, and they're everywhere in this country, and it's a pretty big country. I'm not gonna say it's a small one now. And oh, by the way, there's no pensions. Old people in this country, they're starving and they become con men. Like, they rob and they steal and they'll fake lawsuits. You can't trust any elderly people in this country. They will break their own hip and then say that you beat them so they can get your money. And if they look hurt on the street, you have to let them die, because if you take medical responsibility or call an ambulance for them, guess who's paying the bill? Oh, and another thing too is if you want to take a taxi in this part of the world, you have to take pictures of the taxi and visibly text like friends with a estimated time of arrival, because taxi kidnappings they're so common, man. And what they do is they'll take you out into a snowy field and demand thousands, right? And if you can't pay, then they just leave you to die in the frozen wastelands, miles away from civilization. So one thing landlords like to do to their tenants in this part of the world is, if you're a female and your landlord is male, they're going to proposition you for a little fun time, okay? That's all I'll say on that, okay? And then they'll beat the person, and then they'll just tell them to tell their friends, like, just say it was a dog bite, but people in this society, they don't see it as a big deal, that it's unpleasant and gross, but people in this society, it's not a big deal compared to everything else that's going on, alright? There is a huge gender imbalance in this nation, okay? Most men will never marry, and most married men have mistresses, which is really weird for the population imbalance. And marriages are usually arranged by the parents, all right? Because in this nation, in this part of the world, children are your only retirement plan. So if you have girls, they're only allowed to marry rich men. So if you're not a rich guy in this part of the world, you're basically a virgin for life. You'll never have a girlfriend, and you'll never get married. And it's not just like the government making this country bad. It's literally everyone that enables it. You know, the famines back in the day, it just killed off all the gentle, kind, and hardworking, honorable people. The only people that are left in this part of the world are all cruel and ruthless and criminally deranged. It's awful. Like if there's a tourist and they're like from America, they're considered like holy or lucky in this part of the world, right? If you're a restaurant owner and a tourist comes and eats at your restaurant, your restaurant is blessed and fancy, and it's crazy. Like if you're a tourist in these parts of the world, you'll always get the best seats. You'll get seats near the window so everyone can see that you're eating there, and then everyone will also want to eat there because tourism is seen as like super lucky and super rare in this part of the world, right? But the thing is like, as a tourist, you'll never actually get to see what this country is really like, and the government doesn't allow it either. Like, there was one time where, I'm not going to say what kind of ruler this person is, but they come to visit, and so what happened is they evacuated the entire town of 30,000 people on a security routine, and what happened is they replaced the whole town. I'm not joking here. They replaced the entire town with actors and policemen that were also acting as citizens of this part of the world. And every person at the restaurant and every waiter, every, just pedestrian, every driver on the road, every single teacher, they were all actors. So the tourists saw them all happy and smiling, and it's like working retail whenever the bosses are coming to inspect the store. But it was like the country. It's crazy. And if the governor doesn't follow the leader's orders of this, then he gets blamed for unhappy people, and he gets executed for being basically corrupt. That's what they call corruption. It's not, faking a whole city for tourists to see that it's super glorious and crazy. And you think the news, like in America, is fake and stuff? Well, you can literally watch government officials on the television moving their eyes like they're reading a script on camera to give statements that everyone knows is fake. It's like a stupid frickin' party, right? Everyone knows in this part of the world that the TV is lies, but no one really can tell what the truth is until they leave. Like, you just don't know. And that suits this part of the country just fine. But, also other parts of the world also misjudge the news, too, in this country. Like, I won't say what they are, but they went through the streets and killed over 2,000 people with swords in the streets. Literally just all of them came out into the streets and just started massacring the people, right? It was like the worst thing ever. Now, so the military goes in, right? And all these people are dead. There's no witnesses because literally everyone's just dead. All right. So they just arrest everybody that's still alive that isn't really part of that, the invaders basically. What they did was they couldn't let it go without retaliation because they'll just keep doing it. So they split them all up into different prisons all over the country, right? And the prisoners inside are told what happened, that these new prisoners, were just killing their people. So the prisoners, there's a lot of prison riots, let's say that. I won't say any more. So what do other countries like America do? They take the side of the prisoners, the literal murderers that went through the streets and kicked in everyone's door and killed them with a sword. They took their side. And they say that the country I'm talking about is violating the human rights of these people. Like, really, dude? So, yeah. But speaking of prison, it's way better behaved here, okay? because the warden, they can just increase your sentence at will for bad behavior. Like, say you beat up a guy or you talk some smack, they can, you know, like, say you're in there for a month, they can turn it into years, or they can just give you the death sentence, right? But here's another thing about prisons too, is they do a lot of blood tests and tissue tests. And what a tissue test is seeing if your organs are compatible with rich people. Because rich people, you know, like, they need surgeries and, you know, like a new bladder, a kidney, or lung, or whatever, right? So, suddenly in these prisons, there's a lot of people that just suddenly behave badly, right, on the record books, and then, you know, they get the death sentence, you know, because there was some rich guy that needs a new liver. You know, like, some rich guy just drinks alcohol every day, he ruins his liver. And say you're in prison because you posted something stupid online. So they put you in jail for a week, and then, hey, you have a tissue match with this rich guy, so we're just going to give you the death penalty. See you later, bro. And then your body parts are in some rich douchebag's body. I'm not making this up. This is really how this operates in this part of the world, right? And people don't know this. So, yeah, like, and it's not even, like, a law. It's not like in, like, you know, the movies where it's like, oh, you have the death sentence and you got, like, 6 months. No, it's literally like, hey, this guy's tissue's matched. We need to do the transplant today. So just give him the death penalty, you know, 30 minutes later, kill him. Take that liver, stick it in the rich guy, and you make bank. And this is normal. This is not like a political thing. This is not like a one-time off thing. No, this is an everyday thing. So if you ever get put in prison in this country, and you better hope that you have, like, crappy blood and really messed up organs that they don't want to harvest, okay? Because you're dead. Like, you could be, like, out past curfew, thrown in jail for a day, and then you're given the death sentence suddenly. It's crazy. It's scary. So yeah, that's I don't know what this video's purpose is. I just thought maybe people should know that there are parts of the world out there that suck, and you should probably consider yourself lucky if you live in a first world country, if you live in a civilized part of the world and not this crappy place. Anyway, I'm SwoleBenji. Thanks for watching. As always, be a bro and stay swole, and make sure you return your shopping carts, or you might end up in prison and have your organs harvested. I'll see you in the next one.
Your last video was fucking perfect. Be well out there, my dude.
Thanks, lad. I really appreciate it. That's the video. It's just me mining stone again. No premium right now. I'll resub end of June, maybe. Because the reward sucks. I don't need the 300k crow. It's only 300k. That's not worth a subscription fee. So I'm just out here fucking getting some stone. And once this hits 20%, I'll go level up mining next. And then by that time, I'll have enough learning points to kick this into tier 6. And that's pretty much what the B-roll is. So thank you, Llsmat, or Ismat. I'm not sure how to... Llsmat? I don't know how to say your name because it's hard to tell if it's an L or an I. Appreciate the $5, man. Thanks a lot. Alright, that's the video. Take care, guys.